Hello everyone, I'm Forrest McFreelava and this is Speedplay Netherlands number 7, Lightning Colonization. So, we go ahead and ally Spain to get a strong colonial ally, and we're probably going to attempt to get Denmark on our side as well. However, since we do have a colony up in Canada, what we're going to do is begin shipping our forces over to the north in order to just invade every single native country that we can, and ideally just rapidly colonize the entirety of North America. That is the goal. And we do go ahead and get Denmark on our side, so we don't have to worry about European conflicts any longer. We are still in the Protestant League, but hopefully that won't come up. And with that said, we go ahead, we start building a second fleet so we can better ship forces over. And that really is probably going to be a necessity in the long run. And with this war basically won, we go ahead and begin exploring with our explorer. And we get a few interesting events. This is actually the first time I've sent an explorer out and gotten the events associated with that. And we don't actually translate the Bible as we want the French on our side, and they are Catholic, so it does lower our relations with other Protestants, but none of our allies are Protestant. Denmark is, but really they're less important than France. And we do begin looking for this interesting civilization of white Europeans. And unfortunately our explorer does seem to be getting trapped a bit. But overall it's going fairly well, and we can just begin conquering. So we unite our two forces, declare war on this native nation, and we're going to have to chase their army all the way back because apparently they're seizing our colony. Luckily, in the recent update with Common Sense, no longer does losing the colony put the colonist away, and progress doesn't appear to have been halted or anything. Austria inherits Hungary, which kind of makes me wish that we'd kept them on as an ally, but the times have changed. So we go ahead and just chase down the native armies in an attempt to just hopefully destroy them as best we can. Now there is the pragmatic sanction, or I go ahead and vote against the Austrians as they are our enemy. I'm not entirely sure what that will do in the long run. It might have kicked them off of the imperial throne, I'm not very sure. The most important thing, though, is we're going to go ahead and just keep colonizing. Now, unfortunately, we did lose that battle, and we are a little low on manpower, so we do begin to just build mercenary armies. And since we do get so much gold from conquering natives, it's probably feasible that we could just make a massive mercenary army to do all these conquests. And it may even be necessary depending on if the next few battles go as poorly as the last few have. Although we are able to peace out the first of the nations. And we do have to deal with a series of revolts. Luckily we time it so that the native army is caught by the revolt. And our revolters defeat them and then also defeat us, which is good and bad. And what we begin to do is build up even more mercenary armies. There is a significant fight against the native army, but we do win it. And we just continue shipping as many forces as possible. We even build a third group of mercenaries. Now we are starting to hemorrhage money, but as soon as we get out of this war, we'll have even more money, and we're also not hurting for money at this point either. So what we're probably going to do is just leverage our current gold and the future earnings from taking over these colonial nations over what we're able to actually do now, and just try to springboard ourselves into a much stronger position. And these mercenary armies will help very much in achieving this, as we don't have anywhere near the actual number of men needed. So we go ahead, and we're going to colonize a slight land bridge so we can actually core these and begin a Canadian colonial nation. And meanwhile, we are going to just go ahead and explore all of the native nations around here so that we can do the same thing to them. And we go ahead and just see these two. We go ahead and declare this war. Now, it seems all we have to do in order to be able to colonize is have a direct line between a colony on the coast and whatever colony we want to colonize. So we're able to colonize all the way into the Great Lakes just by having that small strand of land. And that was a lot of the word colony in one sentence. Meanwhile, we are also able to convert the regions, which will hopefully make our new colonial nation more stable. As in the past, I have definitely had issues with colonial nations just breaking apart as soon as they're able to. Hopefully we will avoid this, and we are incredibly rich at this point. So we are going to go over our colonist limit, as it will just springboard us forward. And the only real concern when attempting something like this is that if we run out of money or any other resource when we haven't fully sprung to the top, we could end up setting ourselves back a little bit. We definitely got a bit of the short end on that with the coalition earlier, and we're just going to go ahead and accept this call to arms, but evacuate all of our forces. As I don't actually want to spend any time fighting that. The French should be able to take care of it, and besides, it's their war. And we'll just focus on North America, as that is clearly where the future is. So we go ahead, and we just have to destroy their armies, and once that's done, we should be able to just quickly take them over. And with that done, we go ahead and move along. Now, we haven't spread into Michigan yet. We did go to war with that nation 2 times now, but that would set up a 3rd colonial nation, which would actually be rather difficult to support. So we go ahead and avoid that for this time. And we go ahead and have an election, and we do discover the kingdom of essentially the Norse colonists from several hundred years ago, so that's pretty fancy. And we go ahead and take over this entire region. We can't actually core it, so we have to just set up a direct line to a place that we already have cored, which will mean just a colonization effort in between the 2 strands. Alright, and we do go ahead and get this first colonial nation. They are a little awkwardly split up, but that'll change as soon as our colonies finish. And with that said and done, we're going to just have to move our armies and get ready for the next effort. We are maintaining our gold fairly well, but we also haven't really sprung forward like I'd been hoping to quite at this time. Also, since we are unable to core those regions, we will be able to convert them before our colonial nation ends up taking them over. So that'll be good use of our religious ideas. And we go ahead and declare the next war, which goes fairly well. However, they did call in one of their colonial allies, so we go ahead and take care of those. There's a bit of conflict in the old world, but it's not anything too worrisome. And with that done, we go ahead and have our explorer continue to explore the area. And overall, though, we're in a very good spot. We're getting just more money from these nations as we go on. And we're going to start colonizing near the Florida area in order that we can go up through Cherokee. And maybe in a long-term sort of plan, connect our new Cherokee colony up with the Northeast. Although, since we do already have several more colonists than we intended to, we may just keep conquering nations. And we go ahead and have them just explore, as we aren't really in a rush until our new colony gets there, that we can springboard off of into the Cherokee. And we do go ahead and set a policy up that will increase the rate of our colonization, as we are up to 6 now on a limit of around 2. So it's going to start getting rather expensive, and we are hemorrhaging money due to that. At any rate, it's not a very serious issue right now. We do go ahead and declare war on the Cherokee. And luckily, since the native nations end up with large groups of alliances, we can just go through and... Oh, well, we did get a new colonial nation, which I will vaguely attempt to give a Dutch-sounding name. But as I was saying, since these native nations have so many allies, we're able to just go through and conquer or force to give all of the money that they have. So we're able to just pillage them, essentially. We'll just be able to pillage several groups at once per war. And until we run out of native nations, this can just keep going on as it sustains itself. We might even build another mercenary army later on if it continues to be an issue. Although at this point, we do seem to be significantly more in control of it than we had been. And we do have a slight issue in the west, although we do appear to pull it off. And we win in the east as well, which means that this is overall going very well. And we are able to go ahead and just annex these two countries. Hopefully go ahead and just defeat this army, and which we do manage to do, and we can go ahead and annex the Cherokee as well. Now, since we took over those two native nations, we'll have to go ahead and just take over this one as well so we can get a direct line to the coast. And I do already have a colony set up to begin that. Meanwhile, we have a slight issue with European diplomacy, but nothing too serious. And we go ahead and annex that nation, and we can now core this entire region. Now we may as well just go ahead and take over the Shawnee, as they're essentially alone right now, and we just may as well. So we go ahead and march our forces over. They do siege out one of our provinces, but we quickly defeat their army. And we do have a little bit of an issue with native uprisings, so we may just destroy a few of the native areas as we continue. And we do go ahead and annex the Shawnee. It is a little awkward though, as our colonial nation is able to get one of the provinces. We do go ahead and invade Mexico now, as I do notice the British and Spanish are setting up a significant presence in the region, and that should be a Dutch presence. Why not? Meanwhile, the Protestant Reformation is going all right. We do go ahead and continue moving forward. Now, the Religious League War has not triggered yet, and that is potentially the only thing that would send us back to the old world. In fact, I have been getting the League War Casus Belli every time we're at peace, which is part of the reason why I've been constantly declaring war on these native nations is, quite frankly, I don't really want a League War. I'd even be willing to accept a Catholic Empire, as our focus has definitely shifted very far to the west, and we do go ahead and just annex this whole region. And later on we'll be able to push forward. We'll probably go back up into North America, as that will get us the gold, and we are down to triple digits, which is absolutely terrifying. Thank you very much for watching, though. We have very rapidly taken over North America, and we will continue from here. Thanks very much for watching. Once again, please like, subscribe, and share.